Suzy Stride, Saturday, April the 4th, out and about here in Moorfield. What have been the typical questions, say, over the last couple of days?
I think lots of people are really undecided at the moment, but some of them watch the leaders' debate, and I think they can see that the Tories have absolutely nothing to say on the NHS. Their record is poor, voting in a privatisation bill, making lots of cuts to the NHS. People have seen it on their TV screens that there is an NHS crisis, and they know that didn't happen under a Labour government, it's happened under a Tory government, and the Tories can't dust their hands of it. They watched the leaders' debate and they saw Ed Miliband taking David Cameron on, and David Cameron looking pretty quiet and a bit like a coward, to be honest with you. I think lots of people are very worried about the Tories making 10% cuts to school budgets, to education budgets, 25% cuts to certain parts of Harlow College, meeting teachers on the doors to say teachers very worried about that. So I think there are people that have been undecided but are coming over to Labour because they can see, look, the Tories have had 5 years, and what have they got to show for it? An NHS which has been, not looked after, school budgets that are about to be closed, 700 children's centres closed across the country. I mean, their record's pretty poor, so there are undecideds, but some of those undecideds are definitely coming over to Labour.
When you mention the undecideds, that sort of reminds me a little bit of 1992, and do you fear there might be a lot of people who have done, and I know people in Harlow who have said, well, we've done 5 years, as if they're only halfway through, we're just going to give them the other 5 years. What do you say to those people?
I'd say that the Tories have got an economic plan that has completely failed. They said they'll balance the books, they haven't balanced the books. They're borrowing as, is it 200 billion pound they've borrowed? I mean, let's be honest, their record is poor. People have been pushed into it. I mean, I meet dads who are working 2 jobs. People are being forced into low-paid, 0-hour contract jobs. That upsets me big time, that people should be able to do a job and that should be able to pay the bills. But also people are saying on the doors, look, you all look and sound the same. People just that disengagement from politics. And when I say, look, I don't work in politics. I work in a school. I've worked in youth and community work for 10 years. I'm not a career politician. And for a lot of people, they want someone they can trust and they can see my heart's in the right place because, as I say, I haven't got that political background. So I think, for different people, there are different things. There's not it's not a one-hit wonder. We are here to listen to people's concerns and respond to those concerns, and that is why we're knocking on more doors than ever before.
It's one thing that I've been running your Harlow now just under 2 years, but I cannot believe regarding crime rates, and I look at unsolved crimes. If you've got a whole month of unsolved burglaries, is that because basically there are no police out there to solve the damn things in the first place? But what are you going to do if you get in?
Listen, look, first of all I want to praise police in Harlow. I know lots of police in Harlow who work incredibly hard, that really care about Harlow, but in all honesty, off the record, police have told me pretty clearly 50% cuts to policing. Now, people in Harlow need to listen to this. Do you want a Tory government that is going to keep making cuts to frontline policing? 50% cuts to policing. We would not be making those cuts. Children's centres closing, 10% cuts. I mean, there's a choice here. Do you want a Labour government that will invest in your NHS, protect your NHS, a Tory government that's privatising it off? Do you want a Tory government that is making 50% cuts to policing, or a Labour government that will protect police budgets? Do you want a Tory government that's going to make 10% cuts to schools, or a Labour government that will protect education budgets? Very clear choice there. Back the Tories if you want, but you'll know what you'll get. Back Labour and you'll get a party that's going to invest in local communities.